The NDA for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has officially been lifted. Now, you can't show any of the gameplay or details that came with the alpha test if by chance you happen to have that on you, but you can talk about it. Now, there's plenty of videos out there already on people's opinions and thoughts on the game that they got to play during the alpha. The game is being taken very negatively amongst the fan base, and it's even getting very bad preview reviews from other gaming sites. I'm not surprised at all. From my experience playing the game, it's just a repetitive, clunky looter shooter. Whereas I will talk about certain details about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, mainly what this video is going to be about is how we have found ourselves here. How we have found ourselves in a situation where we're getting a Suicide Squad game over anything else they possibly could have made. Anywhere you look, 95 to 99% of the conversation surrounding this game is negative or poor. This reception is a mixture of pretty much everything. The leaks that got announced about this game, whether or not some of these leaks may be true or not, because there does seem to be a little bit of backtracking there, but a lot of things do still add up. The gameplay is another issue. The fact that this game has been in development for about 9 years now, just the fact that the Suicide Squad, I don't believe is as much of a household name as Warner Brothers wants them to be. Whenever I talk about the Suicide Squad on this channel, I always talk about how they're not a group of characters that really interests many people. It is a fine line of people who actually find the Suicide Squad interesting. Many of the general audience don't really care about them outside of Harley Quinn. And even for fans or hardcore fans of DC, not everyone is into the Suicide Squad. So for whatever reason, Warner Brothers keeps pressuring this Suicide Squad appearance in literally all mediums nowadays. I really don't understand it. In my experience from playing the game, the world traversal is there. It looks beautiful. The city of Metropolis looks great. The problem with it is the traversal options. They simply just are not that fun, and it's really not that captivating. In Arkham Knight, I could sit there all day, grapple around, glide, and use the Batmobile without getting bored. In this game, I don't think that's going to happen. It's a little too slow, and I think the mechanics of the traversal are pretty rough. But the one thing I really noticed is that Metropolis is detailed in such a fashion that I feel like it was being prepped for a Superman game. Now, I don't know if there are any very specific details that a Superman game was being made. I know there was a rumor that Warner Brothers Montreal was supposed to be planning something Superman. There might even be something out there that Rocksteady was planning it, and they never fully pitched it to Warner Brothers yet. Regardless, I just get this feeling that the amount of detail they threw into Metropolis, it's like they were ramping us up for a Superman game. It almost felt as if they finally decided we mastered Batman. Who's the next big DC character we should go to and master them? Well, the only answer there would be Superman. And the fact that we're getting a Suicide Squad game over Superman is pretty wild. In saying that, there is a list of games I think we could have easily gotten over Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You could have had a Superman game. You could have had a Wonder Woman game, which, I mean, Monolith is currently making right now, but we barely know any of the details. You could have made a Flash game, considering the Flash has really entered the spotlight a lot more within these past couple of years. You could have done a Green Lantern game. I could only imagine the gameplay ideas you could throw into a Green Lantern game. Even still, you could have done another Batman game. All of those potential characters there and more, and yet we get a Suicide Squad game where you're killing the Justice League. Now, I've seen a lot of people who have said they would have much rathered another Batman game prior to anything, especially this Suicide Squad game, and now that canceled Batman game would have featured a Damian Wayne taking up the mantle of Batman about 20 years after Arkham Knight, which I think there is a level to that where I would be interested in, even though I'm not a fan of Damian Wayne at all. Where I do think they simply should have just gone is another Batman game, maybe just a different story. We should have been able to see the truth of what happened after Arkham Knight and where this leaves Bruce Wayne Batman now, what his plan is for his future as Batman, and who he has to go up against next. I think 9 years after Arkham Knight, it would have put you in a really great spot capitalizing on Batman at least one more time. You know you would have got your target audience back and your general audience back, and this is where you could have actually started to explore more of the Justice League characters without, I don't know, killing them. And there lies the problem, killing the Justice League. The leaks that came out about this game aren't fully contextualized, apparently. You will be killing the Justice League, but I heard something about how that's not the full picture. So maybe there is a situation where they're a replica of the Justice League, or they're a Justice League from another Earth, because I'm pretty sure they're bringing the multiverse into this storyline. Maybe the Arkhamverse Justice League is imprisoned, and what you're gonna have to do by the end of the game is find a way to free them. I still don't really know. Once I saw the first initial leaks, they really bothered me because of how much the Arkham Batman means to me. It's my favorite Batman of all time. So I've pretty much stayed away from all leaks since that point. Now, if it is completely true, the game comes out, we play it, and oh, well, look at that. We do have to completely kill the Justice League, and it's over. I think this is where the biggest problem is. I think there is a particular situation where you could release a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game and get people interested, such as myself. But timing is the most important thing about this game, and I don't believe right now is the right time when we haven't even been introduced to this Justice League yet. Yes, I already have impressions of Batman from his past games, but for the rest of the Justice League, the only versions of these characters that I know, outside of Wonder Woman in this world of course, is just them brainwashed by Brainiac to do his bidding. If we had an opportunity within the Arkhamverse to somehow get to know the Superman, the Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern, the Flash, by the time a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game would have come out, it would have actually made it much more interesting, and it would have drove the stakes much higher. Killing the Justice League is no easy task, and I feel like that is something you need to build up for. Not wait 9 years to release a brand new game, and when you do, this is the first thing we have to do. Also, waiting for a type of game like this is where you miss out on very important situations, like Batman meeting Superman for the first time in this world, meeting the rest of the Justice League, and forming this formidable revered team. Don't get me wrong, they give you details on how they met in this game, but you can really tell that was not the importance to them. They only threw it in because they needed to give you a little bit of something. This is the point in the game where you actually face up against Batman for the first time in this Arkham type of museum that's being set up in Metropolis. The mission is great. The atmospheric Arkham vibe is a lot of fun, brings a lot of nostalgia back into it. Batman does a lot of his fear takedown stuff that he does in the actual Batman games, but the museum is filled with prompts that you can press A or X on, where Jack Ryder will basically explain the past couple of years to you in a couple of sentences, and that is how the revelation of Batman and Superman meeting for the first time is essentially explained to you. So it completely takes away the importance of the world's finest meeting up in the Arkhamverse. Now, when you think about Rocksteady, they're a company who have been relatively capable of making very beautifully crafted linear story mode games. How many companies nowadays can you actually say do that on a AAA basis. A lot of today is multiplayer, 4-player, player versus player, player versus everyone type of gaming. There is real multiplayer saturation. So to see companies who make just story mode games is a very rare but amazing thing, because a lot of us still appreciate story modes. Now, because of this, maybe there is a reason why Sefton Hill has chosen to leave the company. We don't really know the details on why he's doing so. Perhaps he has seen where Rocksteady is going and his gut is telling him to get out of there. Maybe he wants no part of where the future of DC gaming as presented by David Zaslav is going, about prioritizing games as a service. At some point, you do have to wonder if you're doing the right thing. It does not take a rocket scientist to realize the vastly different experiences these two games are giving you. There is a particular integrity that Rocksteady had when they prioritized games like the Arkham Batman games. When do you give that up and change yourself for the worst to just join the rest of the gaming society in multiplayer? It is that classic saying of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Their formula is not broken. The Batman games are not broken. You could have easily just made another Batman game. Or better yet, try your hand at another DC superhero. I would have had 110% complete trust in this studio if they said, we want to try our hand at a Superman game or a Flash game. But that's not what has happened. The Rocksteady team looks completely different. Their outlook on the future looks nothing like what they were trying to do with the Batman games, and it now looks like a live service game with microtransactions and shooting purple orbs are their main priority. I genuinely don't know how this game is going to perform, and that's not me saying, oh, it could do great, it could do poorly. That's me saying it's either going to have a mediocre performance or a very poor performance. And if it's right in the middle, if it's mediocre, if it's fair, the question now remains is, how many people actually stick with this game for hundreds of hours the way they clearly want us to do so? Everybody pretty much just plays the same. It's pretty hard to change gameplay when the fundamentals of your gameplay is to point and shoot a gun. You're either going to use an assault rifle, some machine gun, sniper rifle, or shotgun. Maybe a pistol. Oh, there you go. Every character seems to literally have one melee move. It's just some sort of uppercut move where you can juggle an enemy in the air and keep shooting them. What type of content are you going to be getting from the Battle Pass that's going to convince people to purchase the Battle Pass? What makes you different from the usual decals, customization options, stickers, costumes that you usually get in any other Battle Pass from any other game? Any end game content, I assume, is going to involve a brand new character and some sort of 4 to 6 hour brand new story. Is that going to be enough to bring people back into this game if they maybe lost interest from the base game or never bought the base game in the first place? What character are you going to be bringing into this game to tell people, oh, you know what? Maybe it is worth a $60, $70 price tag, which is another problem I see this game having. I see it performing quite poorly enough. You could see, with maybe in a month or two, this game dropping to half price, if not a little bit lower. It's almost as if they didn't see the outcome of Marvel's Avengers and Gotham Knights. And considering the Suicide Squad isn't really a household name, disregarding gameplay, who do you really expect your audience to really main in this game outside of Harley Quinn, who is the biggest name that comes with this game? Deadshot, yeah, sure, maybe. King Shark, I don't really think anybody are interested in playing as King Shark. And let me just tell you right now, out of experience, Captain Boomerang, oh my god, shut your damn mouth. He gets really annoying and frustrating to listen to in the game, and he is really not all that funny. The game does not take that long to get bored of. It does not take long to get bored of shooting the same generic enemies over and over again, again, and then to have to traverse the entire map to get from one mission to the next mission, in which those missions are repetitive in their own right. Defend this post for a certain amount of time. Take down this fake emergency broadcast. Hack into and destroy this Brainiac machine while waves of Brainiac generic soldiers come after you. It almost feels as if the thought process of this game going into it was more about how do we make a fun game that capitalizes on microtransactional money where people can maybe play with their friends from time to time, instead of actually giving us a beautifully crafted linear story mode, the way the Batman games were modeled, in which then they would have actually made a mad amount of money instead of what it looks like they're going to have to go through now, which seems to likely be a failure. Or I should say at least a skeptical failure, because a lot of this game has me skeptical on how good it's actually going to be and how it will perform. Regardless, to see Rocksteady fall this short is really unfortunate, because at the end of the day, they made some of my favorite video games of all time. It sucks knowing that if this game does bad enough, who knows if they ever will be able to make another really good Batman game or try their hand at another DC character. So there you go, guys. That's what I have to say about this situation. I might dive more into gameplay details in a live stream within the next couple of days, but I wanted to make this video because I find it very fascinating that we find ourselves in this situation 9 years after Arkham Knight, a trilogy that is critically acclaimed and even by a general audience would be claimed as some of the best video games made of all time, just to see them come down so low for this future Suicide Squad game. It's really unfortunate, and truthfully, I do hope in some miraculous way this game comes out and proves a lot of us naysayers wrong. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the entire Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League situation, and even let me know some other DC games you think Rocksteady should have done before they did a game like this. But that is all I have for you on this one, everyone. So until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.